Well, hello everybody. To introduce myself, my name is David Dawson, and as Emma said, I lead the Ministry of Justice's external data linkage function. I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about a programme called Data First, which is a really powerful collaboration between MOJ and ADR UK, and in particular about a data share we have undertaken with the Department for Education as an example of the value of the Data First programme. I will then hand over to Rosie, who will be talking in more depth about one of the uses of this data share. So, what is Data First? Data First is an ambitious data transformation programme in MOJ, funded, of course, by ADR UK. The project aims to unlock the potential in the wealth of data already created by MOJ by mapping and linking administrative data sets from within the MOJ and with other government departments, and enabling accredited researchers from across government and academia to access de-identified research-ready data sets. There are 4 internal teams in MOJ who work together, leading on different work streams of the projects within MOJ. Our data mapping and strategy team are mapping key data sets held across MOJ with a view to establishing the analytical potential of what we hold and developing an externally shareable list of research-ready data sets. Our internal data linkage team are developing a robust automated linking pipeline between criminal, family and civil justice data sets so we can better understand the nature of our users. This is based around the world-leading linkage package Splink, which we would encourage others to consider using for linkage. These datasets will be shared through the ONS Secure Research Service with magistrates and Crown Court data already available, and we hope in future to share them via the SAIL data bank. Our external data linkage team are leading on linking justice data with that from other government departments to understand the wider context of offending, and I'll be covering that a bit more later. And finally, our research, academic engagement and communications team are facilitating links between Data First and the research and academic community, working in partnership to identify priority research questions to make the best use of the linked datasets. ADR UK funding is a key enabler for this. I'm sure that many of you know not just the kinds of goals we're pursuing, but also that it can be really challenging to ring fence the space to pursue this kind of strategic work alongside the sort of constant flow of urgent organisational business. So the work delivered across Data First offers a wide range of benefits. I'm going to focus on one product from our external linkage strand in particular, a MOJ DFE data share, which Data First is supporting us to encourage the effective use of. And I want to start with why we think this particular project is so important. At the most basic level, data sharing across government is critical because without it, we only have a very limited perspective on an individual. So in the case of the MOJ, we get to see users of the criminal justice system as offenders. Our internal linkage is giving us a better understanding of the range of those interactions. So, for example, by looking at family and criminal justice data in combination, we can look at where challenging life events like a divorce are associated with offending. But even this is far from the whole story. To understand the context and possible drivers of offending and establish how we can most effectively help people turn their lives around, we need to look at related factors. We need to look at things like drug and alcohol abuse, mental health, educational background, income. This data share is one part of our attempt to get that broader understanding. We want to identify our educational outcomes and characteristics associated with offender outcomes, and that's the kind of analysis it's not otherwise possible to conduct. So, what does this MOJ DFE data share consist of? It includes data on young people's educational attainment and characteristics such as free school meal eligibility, special educational needs, absence and exclusions, linked to police national computer data on criminal histories and interactions with their criminal justice system such as courts and prisons. Only offenders with at least one PNC record from 2000 or later have been shared, as this is the earliest data for which reliable criminal histories are held. And similarly, only offenders born on or after the end of August 1985 have been shared because earlier groups do not have a realistic chance of matching to the National People Database. For this share, we're building on a successful pilot from 2015 that demonstrated the value this kind of link can offer on a more limited basis. But this time round, rather than agreeing a single share, we've developed an ongoing link with the goal of updating it annually. So this kind of ongoing agreement is a far more efficient and effective way to proceed than a series of one-off shares. The current share covers offending up to the end of 2017 and education data at the end of the academic year 17-18, and we're already working on the next edition of the share, which we aim to cover offending data at the end of 2019. And one last element I want to mention before moving on is that this share is for the purpose of research and statistics rather than direct operational usage. So as well as being intrinsic to our partnership with ADR UK, we think this model is a critical part of our strategy to ensure public trust in sharing, and also it makes it more feasible for us to do so within GDPR. Now, I don't want to spend very much time at all talking about this fairly convoluted looking diagram. It's just a high level view of the steps involved in the share. If anyone would like further detail on our processes, please do feel free to ask questions either today or get in touch with me afterwards. But I do want to pull out the critical role of collaboration, most obviously between the parties to the share, MOJ, DFE, but also beyond, and say that's a particular strength, I think, of the Data First model. So our virtual team has helped break down internal silos, but we've also been able to make a wide range of new links with academics and users. So right at the start of the process, we brought in colleagues from other government departments with an interest in this data, the Home Office and Prime Minister's Implementation Unit. And also ADR colleagues were able to helpfully refer researchers to us who had an interest in this space. And these inputs were really critical because we wanted to design this share to be a resource for analysts across government and beyond. So getting this wider perspective, it enabled us to strengthen our justifications for sharing and also better tailor the content. So, for example, we were able to build in powers to support evaluations, and that's something I hope Rosie will be referencing later. We've also been able to maintain engagement with these users, supporting applications and using this to inform future development of the share. At the other end of the process, we are working with the ONS to use the Secure Research Service to support external access. Again, I'll be coming on to that in a moment. And we're currently developing a funding call with the ESRC to encourage researchers to use the share. We've also committed to sharing informations and lessons learned with other government departments in the hope that Data First will inspire similar collaborations and a wider openness in government data. So if anyone would like to learn more about what this has been like for MOJ, please do get in touch with us. The Data First programme is now to draw on ADR expertise throughout to inform our communications and engagement strategies. So we've held academic seminars to advertise the share. We're drawing on a user panel, an academic advisory group to ensure that we perceive the sharing and analysis that is meaningful and robust and also ethical and maintains public confidence. The share itself was completed earlier this year, and we are now beginning to see the first internal results from analysis. So the first published outputs were recently published in the National Statistics Compendium, Women in the Criminal Justice System 2019, and we expect to publish more in early 2021. But the real power in this share is its availability beyond MOJ DFE as a strategic resource for analysts. So this enables us to get the most value from the data on the principle of collect once, use many times, by drawing on a wide pool of research expertise and publishing findings to add to the evidence base around education and justice. So this is the approach we're seeking to take for all our Data First work, subject to approval by partners. We're looking to make data sets available securely, primarily to accredited researchers by the ONS SRS. Now, applications to use the data, if anybody's interested, can be made via the mailbox, which I include on my last slide. We run a joint application process with DFE, with access subject to consideration of feasibility, value and ethics. We've already reviewed several applications, with Rosie leading the first successful application. I can't go into details about all the other applications we've received so far in this tight timeline, but I've already seen proposals looking at things as diverse as school performance, prolific offenders, interventions, valuations, policies, and insight from surveys. We're really excited about the potential of this to work with a range of new partners to really understand several different dimensions of the offending population. And lastly, I want to quickly end with an overview of what's next for Data First. So from external perspective, I focused on the MOJ DFE share, but we're also hoping to develop other shares. So as well as developing and improving the DFE share in the next edition, we're hoping to work with DWP to share data on the speed with which offenders receive universal credit. And we're also working on a share with the SAIL data bank, which holds world-leading linked data about the population of Wales. And that share will focus on the links between health and offending, and in particular mental health and self-harm. Broader health data is a key goal for MOJ. Beyond the external components of Data First, we're currently working to link family and civil justice data and make it available, and continue to engage with researchers to support access to the rich data already shared. And we're looking forward to seeing a range of research across all the Data First data sets. And lastly, we're beginning to think about what we might want from the second phase of Data First, subject to continued ADR UK support. Data First has been a big success from an MOJ perspective, so we're really keen to consider how we can further develop this model for linking justice data in support of research.